Okay, I wanted to do a super quick, or maybe not so super quick, update on what's been happening with the website, what's been happening in general, and what's going to be happening going forward. So, in no particular order, with this website, I've taken all the articles and all the blog posts that I've made in various places and transferred them all to this site. So they're all sitting in the background. So articles that I wrote for other people, articles that I wrote and published on the various blogs that I've had, and articles that I wrote but they're not published. So they're all sitting in the background here. So I've broken them down into obvious categories. So the sort of sport training ones, the fitness, health training ones, the fighting articles, and then the articles that I've written sort of looking at different subjects. So they're all sitting around the background. So I'm still yet to decide how I'm going to use those and what I'm going to use those for, but the work getting them together has been done. So the next update is this morning, my time, Sunday evening, US time. I recorded what'll be the introductory podcast to for impersonal training. So, which is for those that those people that are probably looking at this website, people you'll know well. So, Paddy Ivers, who's a fighter that I've trained in Ireland, who's also a coach, and Dan Fouts, who's a long-time friend of mine and former business partner with Informed Performance. We're going to produce a podcast. And what we're going to do with that today, we recorded the intro. The next one we'll be looking at the methodology and the philosophy, training philosophy around and behind the training that we do for professional athletes, for amateur athletes, for general fitness training. So we'll have a look at that and where that training template and that philosophy came from. So we'll have a good talk about that. Then we're going to talk about assessment and testing, and do it in the context that we're currently in, which is obviously changed for a lot of people. So with the COVID-19 pandemic and gyms being shut, a lot of people have moved to training at home or not training at all in a lot of cases. So people have become, to a large extent, more sedentary, so less training, so less structured exercise. So we're going to have a talk about the context for that, both training and testing and assessment. Have a look at the mobility and stability work that was built around our old template, and then we'll move off into other areas. So we'll put forward a sort of training program, training template to be modified going forward, and look at how we would do that in the non-gym scenario, non-gym atmosphere. So that'll be interesting. So we'll have a YouTube page for that, and we'll put the videos up there. I'm going to still keep this website going, and I'll also put those those blogs, those podcasts, whatever you want to call them, videos on this page. And I'll also do more explanatory stuff around that. So we'll have those as structured structured entities, and I'll do some more non-structured stuff around that. I think what we'll do also is that we'll take some of the articles and posts that I've done that people will be more familiar with, and we'll look at those. So we'll look at training around fighting, sort of how do you decide on your training methodology, how do you fit it in with all the other aspects. So obviously people know both Paddy and I, I mainly fought MMA, Paddy mainly fought Thai. Both have a background training in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and wrestling and other modalities. So we'll talk about that. So we'll get feedback from people. I hope so. If people have questions, we'll have an avenue for people to sort of ask those questions. I'm still in contact with a lot of people from the coaching community that I used to be in contact with. So we're thinking what we'll do is perhaps interview some of those people. So some of you know the people being associated with in the past. So I think that'll be quite interesting. But we'll do that through the personal training podcast. I'm just thinking what else there is to update you on. Oh, the other thing is obviously I've gone back to training again now, so I might I'm thinking as usual, I want to under promise and over deliver. I might do something weekly. It might end up being more often than that, but and sort of give you some feedback on what I'm doing myself, the proof being in the pudding. So I've had some minor inconvenient injuries in the of late. That's Pia having a drink there, just in case you're wondering what that noise is. So I'll talk about what I'm doing myself in my own training, and we can follow along if you're interested with that, and I'll answer any questions that people have around that as well. So that's the 9-minute update, or 8-minute 56. So you've got 1 and a bit pood. So if there's any questions, you can post them here, and otherwise stay tuned.